Okay, hello everyone in ESL 180 and 380. It's going to be a lecture today on how to do a definition paragraph. Now, you've already done a word chart on a word that you defined, and that was the first step. And actually, you're going to be using that chart as your notes to now take it from a chart, kind of like a outline, and put it into a full paragraph where you explain your word and your definition of that word to a fellow student or to the world or to your instructor or whoever you're going to explain it to. The thing I really want to tell you is that it's important that you make it interesting. Don't just copy and paste each sentence from your word definition chart. You actually want to have transition sentences. You can actually add more examples and make it interesting so everyone wants to read your definition. So let's get started, and we're going to start with the questions that you were asked to answer in your word definition chart, and then we're going to look at the word definition chart, and then I'm going to look at a few of your word definition charts and give you some ideas on how you might take it further, okay? So you probably remember this chart that I gave to you, and everyone filled in his or her chart. So the same as answering these questions for the word chart, you're going to take the answers to these questions and put them in a full paragraph. Now, every paragraph in academics usually requires a topic sentence. The topic sentence is your topic and what you're going to say about the topic, how you're going to narrow your focus on that topic. So the easy part of this is, look at this, what is it? That's your topic sentence right there. If you just answer what is it in your first paragraph, you've got your topic sentence, okay? In your opening paragraph, I should say. So let's take a look. So on page 27 in Q Skills, this is what we're going to use as the model, okay? Page 26 actually had a copy of the word chart, but on page 27, they give you an example of what a definition paragraph looks like. And there's about 8 full sentences here. And I'm going to expect you to do 8 to 10. Now you can do 8 like this one has, but this particular example has very complex sentences. So if you use a lot of complex sentences, then 8 is fine. But if you're using a lot of short sentences, then you probably want to get more to the 10 to 11 to 12 sentences, okay? But do try to do complex sentences because this is an advanced writing class. We want to get you as academic sounding as possible. Okay, a complex sentences is when we add independent clauses with dependent clauses and string those together. Okay, so look at how we start here. It says right here, so language is one of the distinguishing capacities of human beings. That's what language is. It answers the question, what is it? Okay, so that's a perfect way to start your paragraph or your definition because you're just telling the reader this is what it is. And then we're going to go deeper into what it is by answering these other questions, okay? And it goes a little bit deeper into the definition. It goes to the dictionary, and it says the dictionary defines language as the system of communication in speech and writing that is used by people of a particular country or area. Here's the complex sentence now. But in reality, language is much more than communication, okay? So it's given a dictionary definition, but be careful on the dictionary definition. The person that wrote this dictionary definition is paraphrasing. And in the lecture this week, you watched a video on paraphrasing. You're going to take a test on paraphrasing. So if you use an exact definition from your dictionary, you either need to quote it or you need to paraphrase it. And I'm going to ask all of you to paraphrase it because we're working on our paraphrasing skills. So you can tell us which dictionary you got it from, but then in your own words, summarize what that definition was. And that is advanced writing skills, okay? So here we go. So we have a little bit more on the definition, and then it gets into what it is not. Because if you look at this, it says, a particular language comprises not only grammar and vocabulary, so it is saying it's not limited, but also aspects of the speaker's culture, their traditional knowledge, their rules of behavior, and their forms of social interaction. So it told us what it is not, and it also told us a little bit about what it consists of. And all this person is doing is going from the chart that they made and pulling that information from that chart by answering these questions here, right? Now you answered 8 questions, and in this one they're asking you 5, okay? Let's keep reading. It says, for instance. For instance means there's an example coming. We say, for example, or such as, or for instance, which just tells your listener or your reader that you're just about to give an example, okay? So let's go back to that. For instance, the vocabulary of the Marvaro language reflects the Solomon Islanders' understanding of fish behavior. Okay? In Japanese, the complex system of honorifics, those are suffixes added to the names that indicate the relationship between the speaker and the listener, whether it's grandmother, grandfather, aunt, stranger, teacher, those kind of things, okay? Expresses the complex social roles that are important in that country. So again, this is giving examples of what language consists of in the culture. This deeper definition of language helps explain why translation is often so difficult and why so much human knowledge is lost when a language dies, okay? So that is a very good way to sum up that particular paragraph. And the summary is answering this question, why is language important? Okay, why is language important? So that's a beautiful definition essay. We have exactly what it is, things that it isn't, what it consists of, whether you break apart the words itself, or not only is it just words we hear, but it's people's attitudes about their language, about their culture, about their traditions, their behavior, how they interact with each other. So that's what it consists of. And then the examples of, like the Japanese honorific, it's a very complex system of how you give an honor word to the relationship that you're experiencing. And on that note, so this is a very good definition paragraph, and that's about as long as you need yours to be, okay? Just use your chart. But make sure you have good sentence structure, that your verbs are in the right tense, that your spelling's correct, that you have capitalization and periods. Make sure that your sentence makes sense. So you might want to read it to a native speaker or ask a tutor to read it through with you to see if it sounds grammatically correct, okay? So you're going to be looking at all of that. And remember, the better your examples, the better your reader is going to understand, the more interested your reader is going to be in your paragraph. And that's the idea of this communication, not to, oh, Miss Daniel says we have to write this, and then I'll just turn it in. No, you really want to communicate your ideas. Now, let me share with you some of your ideas that you came up with. They're beautiful. I love them. So let me move to the next part here. I brought up one particular student. Let me see if I have it here. So this was Muhammad's, and his word, and I believe, Muhammad, I'm saying this right, is sahib, but forgive me if I don't do that right. So this has to do with language, obviously, but it also has to do with a term that shows respect. So he chose sahib, he said, is a Dari word. That means ownership in English. But when we are using it in Afghanistan, it has a different meaning. It acts as an adjective to show respect and formality to a name or a surname or to a position or title. Okay, kind of like what we were just reading, right? It doesn't necessarily mean dear or something like that. It's similar to it, but it's not identical to dear. Okay, so I'm going to have you expand on that a little bit later. And the characteristics here are nice. He says when someone wants to call his teacher, his manager, his doctor, someone that's older than him or her, or someone you're not friendly with or stranger, the polite thing to do would be to add sahib to the surname. And then he gives us an example. So Ibrahimi, sahib. Engineer, Sahib, Doctor Sahib, Teacher Sahib. Okay? And I think he gives us the Afghanistan translation here. Okay? Boss Sahib, or I guess this is in Afghanistan, Rahi Sahib, maybe? Okay. These are examples. He says, how does it work? Well, you use it in formal language or when you want to show respect. If I want to call my teacher, I don't call that teacher just professor, I call Professor Sahib, which is beautiful, by the way, Mohammed. I love other languages that show this kind of disrespect to people. It's really nice. I think we've lost that in a lot of culture. In the United States and in many Western English-speaking worlds, what do we say? We say sir or ma'am, right? Okay. Why is it important? In our culture, he says, being respectful is a crucial point of success. Everyone should show respect to an older person or an upper level or professional, showing respect and not to call them simply by their name. Okay? So that is very important, because what if I don't do that? Or what if Muhammad didn't do that? Then we would be considered rude, right? Being very rude and disrespectful. And we don't want to do that, especially if we are not native to the culture. Okay, so these were really some nice submissions that you guys made. And I'd like to show a couple more. I'll go back here a little bit. Shu was really an interesting concept that you had here. She's given it to me, and Shu, I think it's Chinese, okay? And she told us what this means. I would love to hear what that sounds like. And she says it literally means flying pigeon. So we use this word to describe breaking an appointment, okay? She said it's not a formal word, it's not an academic word, but it is an idiom, okay? And so I like how she put what is it not? And what is it similar to? She means when you stand someone up. You just have to take out the two here, and I'll tell you why on that, Shu, because it is similar to when you stand up to someone. In American idioms, when you stand up to somebody, you're being brave. It's like someone's trying to bully you, and you're like, I'm not going to take it. You can't bully me. Or your boss is being disrespectful to you, and you finally have had enough. So you say, you know what? That's disrespectful, and I'm not taking that, and I'm going to tell your manager if you don't stop it. That's standing up to somebody. But I know what you meant. You meant to stand someone up. When you stand someone up, you break an appointment. So just a little bit for you for when you do your paragraph on that. But it was beautiful. I love the way that you said what it is similar to. Okay, and then she divided it into two stages. She said first you make an appointment, then you break it. The characteristics of it's somebody's opinion that you are unreliable, and you can no longer be believed. So that's good. So she gave an example, inviting your friend to watch a movie, and then you don't keep the appointment, and you keep your friend waiting for hours. I guess you would say this term to that person. They're a flying pigeon, or flying a pigeon. Okay. Okay, and I love this little bit of history. I thought that was really a unique thing. So I hope that in your definition paragraph, Shu, I hope you actually put this in there, because I think the historical context of a word is so interesting. And she said, we used pigeons to send letters in ancient China. So I did get China right. Two people promised that they would send letters to each other. One of them sent the pigeon without the letter. The other one said, why did you just send a pigeon instead of keeping the promise? So we use this word to describe breaking appointments. And she says it's important because you don't want to be considered a flying pigeon or to fly a pigeon, flying a pigeon, because you don't want to be unreliable. And I think we all have been stood up at one time in our life. Someone forgot they had an appointment with us, and it doesn't feel good, and it wastes our time. So fascinating word. And there's so many of this. So take all this great information you put in your chart, everybody, transfer it over to the paragraph, use transitions, okay? Words like for example, and you can look at not only but also, that's showing contrast. The word is not only this but also that, so you can show contrast of ideas, okay? And remember, definitely remember to end your paragraph with saying why it's important, because that's a beautiful summary final sentence for your paragraph. It sums it up. So we call that a concluding sentence. So make sure you have that concluding sentence. And again, your topic sentence is just going to be your definition, which is your first question, what is it? Okay? So give that a try. I'm so excited to have you guys submit your definition paragraphs. I do want to let you know that as you get into higher levels of English, they may ask you to write a definition essay, okay? Now, an essay, we all know, is multiple paragraphs. So let me just tell you how you would do that. If you were asked to write a definition essay, then still it's pretty easy. You could have one paragraph about what it is and what it is not. You could have another paragraph about what it's similar to or dissimilar to. You could have another paragraph of what it consists of and its characteristics. And you can have another paragraph of how it works and how it's used. Okay? And then your concluding paragraph about why it's important. So the chart is so powerful because it lets you pick out these main areas, these questions that you answered. And if you're ever asked to write an essay, each of these can be its own paragraph. You'll have to think of more to say, and you'll have to think of more examples for every paragraph. But here's your paragraphs right there if you're ever asked to write an essay. Okay, so give this a try, everybody, and you're going to be turning this into the discussion area. So I have directions on this, but what you'll do is you will upload to the discussion area your, well, hang on. I'll just show you right here. It's in the discussion area, and the reason why I'm having you turn it into the discussion area is because I want you to see what I saw. I was so delighted as I was reading through your definition paragraphs. Actually, I should say your definition charts. And I only used 2 for this particular lecture, but there were so many good ones. I wish I could just use them all. But I'd like for you to go ahead and you're going to post your word definition paragraph. Remember that you're going to answer these questions, okay, as you write that paragraph. And so you're going to upload a picture or upload a file or a document, whatever, of your actual chart. And then you're going to copy and paste into the discussion area your paragraph, okay? So you can copy and paste. For example, if we hit reply, you can actually copy and paste your definition paragraph just right in here, and then you want to attach your chart, okay? Or you can just embed your chart if you want to embed the image. If you just want to take a picture of your chart and just embed it right directly into the writing area here, you can, or you can just attach your document or your PDF or whatever. And then the discussion is going to be about, you're going to choose 2 that you like from students that you read and just compliment them on it or ask them any questions, share an idea, whatever, okay? Because since this is an online class and it's so hard for us to feel the community and classmates and that we have this learning environment, it's so important that you really participate in the discussion board and reach out to at least 2 more students and talk to them. Okay, everybody, have a great week this week, week 4. And if you have any questions, just email me. And you know I have office hours too that you can reach me. Take care. Have a great week.